do it more like this now. This thing's getting old. Might have to get a new one soon. It's starting to wear down on me. Let's try like this. If I go maybe like that, like this now. This thing's getting old. Might have to get a new one soon. It's starting to wear down on me. Let's try like this. Oh, whatever. Okay. Now I can hear myself, so I'm going to mute myself out. All right, good morning, everybody. I got a new mic. Well, no, I don't have a new mic. What am I talking about? Anyway, good morning. My mic is a little funky, so my mic stand anyway. My mic is fine. So here's what we're doing, all right? We are live on YouTube. I'm gonna about to run the live here also on TikTok because I gotta let everyone know on TikTok, and I'm gonna be sharing the Zoom link in my Telegram group. So if you're not in my Telegram group, I will share the Telegram link for everybody on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, but let's do this. Let's get this whole thing started here. All right. All right, how's it going? Good to see you. Good morning. Almost.
Here with Article 4, we're going to cover sections 1.
Okay.
Get low.
I'm setting up the TikTok live as well. So we're going to go live on TikTok. But TikTok is just here. Telegram is it for paid groups or can anyone access? I'm going to drop the link. Everyone can access Telegram 100% of the time. My Telegram group is free. You can join it, no cost. Morning, good. Good morning, Yoda. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to drop this in. That's the Zoom link. It's in the Telegram group. For the people who want to get into the Telegram group, I am going to give you the link right now. Hold on one second. Copy link. Okay, and I'm going to go drop the link into the live chat. Everybody who's on YouTube watching, that's the link for the Telegram. The Zoom link, remember what's going to happen is once you're in, you're here live on YouTube with me. So just remember that. All right. And I'm going to disable the waiting room. So we're all just on. Okay. So we're all here now. First thing I got to do. Okay. I see this thing where they talk about, let me see if I can find it online somewhere. One of these memes where they talk about the citizen of the United States is a civilly dead entity, and it comes from the Congressional record of June 13th, 1967. Okay, now that's something I've covered that on a Rumble, that whole Congressional record. The problem is that phrase that the citizen of the United States is a civilly dead entity does not exist on there. Okay, that's the first thing. Oh, wait, let me put because I think if you guys are hearing me, I got to do it like this, right? Yeah, okay. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so this is important to understand. There's a lot of, and we've covered this before with court cases, like fraudulent court case claims or phrases or opinions, right? But we're going to do this with this Congressional record, okay? Because it's really important that we have the right information. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't exist somewhere. It might be written somewhere out there, but who knows? You know what I mean? Like, who really knows where that's actually written? Okay. By the way, guys, if you're on TikTok, the name of the live is the name of the Telegram group. If you would like to join in, go ahead, go to the Telegram group, go click the Zoom link, and you'll be added on, and you'll be live with us in the Zoom meeting. Okay, which is being broadcasted on YouTube as well. All right. So everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome to join. Okay, so now what we're doing is I'm going to pull up that congressional record. I have it somewhere. Give me a second to find it. Okay, and I found it. It doesn't take me long. Especially if I prepare. I prepared for this one because I wanted to do this. But then what we can do afterwards, if you guys have some questions and stuff like that, we can take up other stuff. But I wanted to talk about where is this? This is way beyond that. Okay, so they make the claim that that whole phrase happens between the pages of 15,641 and 15,647. Right? So that would be in this area here. See, 699. So we have to go back more. But it does talk about the 14th Amendment. I'm going to show you guys what it says in here. This is some good stuff. So you guys listening on TikTok, YouTube, check this out. This is really important. What they've been talking about with the 14th Amendment. This is some crazy stuff. All right. I did cover this on Rumble, but I do think it's very important that all Americans understand this 14th Amendment situation. Okay, this is probably I mean, the 11th Amendment is a total problem. The 14th Amendment is a problem. The 16th Amendment doesn't really do anything. It's like an imaginary, it's like a gotcha kind of thing, you know? Like, I don't think people understand what it actually does. It does nothing, to be honest. It does not convey any new powers. It does not give them taxing authority to do a direct tax on your income. Does not give them the authority to tax your labor and time. Okay? It doesn't do that. But here we're on the page 1564, June 13th, 1967, and this is the Congressional record. By the way, this document, you can search for terms and it'll show up in this document. That's why I know it's not in here, because I typed in civilly dead. I put all those terms in there to see what would come up, and it does not show up at all. But it does, and this is the Congressional record, okay? And it says the 14th Amendment, equal protection law or tool of usurpation. Oh, now, if you don't know what usurpation means, all right, we're gonna pull up the definition. I don't know if you guys can see that on YouTube or not, or even on, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Maybe you can't. I don't know. I can't tell what you can see and what you can't see. But usurpation, right, is it's defined as the taking of position of power, okay? So, or importance unlawfully or by force. So if someone forcefully takes the power from somebody else, that's called usurpation, okay? And it's more than likely that's a good way to explain it. Okay, so yeah, I guess you guys can see it up there. We're gonna pull it up. But that's what that is. That's usurpation, right? To usurp is to take power away from others. And that is exactly what the 14th Amendment is, and it's on the congressional record already. Okay, so there's a lot of people talking on here and stuff like that. The Speaker pro tempore, is there objection from the request of the gentleman from Arkansas? There was no objection. Okay, Mr. Speaker, arrogantly ignoring clear-cut expressions in the Constitution of the United States, the declared intent of its drafters, notwithstanding, our unelected federal judges read out prohibitions of the Constitution of the United States by adopting the fuzzy haze of the 14th Amendment to legislate their personal ideas, prejudices, theories, guilt complexes, aims, and whims. Pretty rough. Okay. Through the cooperation of intellectual educators, we have subjected ourselves to accept destructive use and meanings of words and phrases. Sound familiar, guys? We blindly accept new meanings and changed values to alter our traditional thoughts. That's literally happening right now in society today as well. So this has always been an ongoing problem throughout our history as humans, is that there's always somebody trying to alter or change our morals and values, okay? Traditions, thoughts about things, okay? But he's talking about the 14th Amendment specifically in this situation. We have tolerantly permitted habitual misuse of words to serve as a vehicle to abandon our foundations and goals. Thus, the present use and expansion of the 14th Amendment is a sham. serving as a crutch and hoodwink to precipitate a quasi-legal approach for overthrow of the tender balances and protections of limitation found in the Constitution. This is exactly what we've been talking about. This is the entire argument right here, what the 14th Amendment is doing, right? It is a sham, right? He calls it a hoodwink to precipitate quasi-legal approach. That's our administrative courts today, right? For overthrow of the tender balances and protections of limitation found in the Constitution. That's right. Under the 14th Amendment, they have unfettered authority because they have authority over the things that they create. They created a federal citizen. And because they're a creation of Congress, as if you claim to be one, you're their bitch. That's it. They get to tell you what to do. And all the states are incorporated under the 14th Amendment as well. Okay, so because they're all under the 14th Amendment, guess what? They're the bitch of the federal government too. But the federal government goes, you go do what you want. You're cool because now you're under our thumb. But the second you cross us, we're going to come for you too. Right? I mean, look, like Trump's doing that right now, right? Like he's like stopping funding to the different states and stuff like that. Now, his reason it's not psychotic because he's trying to get these guys to stop all this, this DEI stuff, right? Which basically is just like, stop being racist. So now, it says, interestingly enough, whether the 14th Amendment, whether ratified or not, was but the expression of emotional outpouring of public sentiment following the war between the states. So that's what the whole 14th Amendment was about. It was this outcry after that. Its obvious purpose and intent was but to free human beings from ownership as chattel by other humans. Its aim was no more than to free the slaves. As our politically appointed federal judiciary proceeds down their chosen path of chaotic departure from the people's governments by substituting their personal law, rationalized under the 14th Amendment, their actions and verbiage brand them and their team as secessionists, rebels with pens instead of guns, seeking to divide our union. Okay, so he's saying that we should have there's a lot to this. This is huge. I read about half this document in, good morning. I read about half this document on a Rumble video talking about the unconstitutionality of the 14th Amendment. And it's pretty thorough, what they talk about in here. So he says that the 14th Amendment is unconstitutional, right? The purported 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution is and should be held to be ineffective, invalid, null, void, and unconstitutional for the following reasons. First, the joint resolution proposing said amendment was not submitted to or adopted by a constitutional Congress. So, didn't go through proper procedure. Article 1, Section 3, and Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution. So, it violated those two provisions of the Constitution to make an amendment. The joint resolution was not submitted to the President for his approval. You mean the sitting President of the United States of America didn't approve of the 14th Amendment? It was never even submitted to him? How is this on the books? The proposed 14th Amendment was rejected by more than 1/4 of all the states then in the Union, and it was never ratified by 3/4 of all the states in the Union. You hear that? It was rejected by more than 1/4 of the states, right? And it was never ratified by 3/4 of all the states. So it's unconstitutional just on those principles alone, let alone the fact that it restricts free speech. It says you can't question the public debt. Sorry, that's a violation of First Amendment. Okay. So the U.S. Constitution provides, Article 1, Section 3, the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state. Okay. The fact that 23 senators have been unlawfully excluded from the U.S. Senate in order to secure a 2/3 vote for adoption of the joint resolution proposing the 14th Amendment is shown by resolutions of protest adopted by the following legislator. The New Jersey legislator, right? By the way, in here it shows Andrew Johnson, who was the president during the ratification of the 14th Amendment, refused. He actually, first of all, he said it never came across his desk, right? Which it didn't. So this is all documented facts that it never came across his desk in the first place. The second thing was they then impeached him afterwards. First president to ever be impeached, Andrew Johnson, right? And this is why he got impeached. As far as I'm concerned, I think it was a political attack against him because of the fact that he opposed the 14th Amendment. And most of the states did. The first constitutional privilege has been arbitrarily denied. So there's a whole thing on this, and you guys should read this. I will share this in my Telegram group. So if you're in my Telegram group, go ahead and I'll share it. I'll drop it in the chat so you guys can read this. It starts here on page 15641. But this whole civilly dead entity, it's not in here. I looked for it. I looked. Let's see. I'm typing just the word. Doesn't even exist right by itself. Okay, if we type in entity. All right, see, it says identity and entity. But that's it. That's all we got. Okay, but what we got here, it says an obligation supported by an unqualified promise or pledging faith or credit made by an entity referred in section of the government. Okay. The term political subdivision of a state would include any county, municipality, or taxing other. Okay, whatever. All right, see, none of this stuff is important to what we're talking about anyway. But you see, it's not in there. Entity, civilly. Doesn't exist in there either. So, guys, this is just a lesson. Just make sure that you know what you're, like, someone can tell you something, that's totally fine. Always verify. Always verify whatever someone tells you. This is why I always show what I'm talking about. Like, if you're on TikTok watching, you can't see. That's why I say go use the name of the live to go into the Telegram group and join in from there. All right. So, just to get that out of the way and get that introduced to everybody, anyone have any questions, comments, or anything of the sort? No questions? Let's check on YouTube. Hey Joe, they wiped that video on Rumble. I took that down because the state was coming after me for those videos, so that's why I made them private. The DOT videos. The DOT stuff still is valid. I just been having issues with the local town cops with the DOT stuff and them harassing me, following me around, stuff like that. So I took it down. After I took it down, they started leaving me alone. So. All right, so I'm not going to talk about that on YouTube. Social security stuff. Plus, I'm on TikTok as well, so I can't say it on TikTok. TikTok might actually shut the live down over there. All right. Anything else? Guys, if you're on Zoom with me, you can unmute and say stuff or ask stuff or do whatever. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Judged by one. Yeah, they can push lies. It's okay, but when teaching the truth, they want to harm you. I mean, this is the reality of things. They won't deny your free speech, but they will come after you for utilizing it when they don't. When but that tells you the condition that you're in, like what kind of country you're in. Like when you start exposing people for doing something bad, right? They turn you into the criminal. Look at Edward Snowden. Look what he did. He told everyone the truth about the NSA and what they were doing, You can always unmute and ask questions if you're on Zoom. You don't have to type into the Zoom chat. But I don't know what you mean. See, you got to explain yourself better. See, since you're on, you might as well just say what it is that you're trying to say, because nobody's talking today. Okay, fine. So weird. But yeah, you
Joe,
got. Yeah, go
how you
ahead.
doing, Joe?
All right.
Okay.
Okay, that was it. I just want to see how I was doing. Okay, but yeah, can you, what is it? AA, can you, I don't know what you mean by, like, can you elaborate on what you're asking a little bit? Because it's not clear what you're referring to, because I have a meaning. Okay, cool. They don't, the masses awake, it will be way too many hours. Okay. Well, we just got to do it. That's why I'm here. We just wake everybody up, and if we wake up enough people, then guess what? Um, it's too bad for them. Okay. I think someone said, like, if you get like 3% of the population, 3 to 5% of the population to wake up, it becomes like this grassroots movement. It just kind of floods them. They can't handle it anymore because it's just too many people, right? So, fine. I'll just keep telling people the truth, let them hate me for it. But I don't know
Joe,
about, yeah.
a few are chosen. A few are chosen. Don't worry about it, my friend. You're doing good.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Um, what happens with the whole copyright depot? I heard some negative stuff. I mean, look, copy. I have no issues with Copyright Depot. I copyrighted stuff through them. It's been fine. You know, never went to jail for it. Why would you go? I don't know. What kind of negative stuff are you hearing? I, oh, you know what? If you guys hear, hold on. Let me go back to this. Remember, guys, if you're on YouTube, actually, you know what? If you're on YouTube and you want to join in, I'll just share the link from here, and I'll just drop the Zoom link right in. Right in. So now you can just join from Zoom directly right off of YouTube. We will need to wake up and clean up the corruption for those who live in peace. There. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to that congressional record. There's other stuff in there you guys got to see. This is really interesting. All right, let's go. Where is it? Nope, it's back here more. There was something, I was reading this again and I saw something in here and I said, oh, let's do zealous. That's how I found it. That's the word zealous. Yeah. All right. If the federal authorities may not use, this is still about the 14th Amendment, by the way, right? Um, there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. If the federal authorities may not use illegally seized evidence handed to them on a silver platter by overzealous state police, there is little logic in allowing them to use similar evidence when provided by a private person acting on his own initiative. Indeed, there is less, for the police officer is at least invested with his authority by the due forms of law and is governed and restrained by his position as a public servant. Not so much now, right? Who acts in the realization that his conduct will be subject to the scrutiny of his superiors, of the courts, and of the public press. Private individuals act only on their own authority, so as many self-appointed attorney generals and are subject to no such restraints. Where motivated by personal grudge or by a sincere belief that he must act the vigilant for the public good, the private citizen who takes upon himself the power of investigating and prosecuting his fellow citizens is as real a danger to the right of privacy and security guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment as is the overzealous policeman. So the overzealous policeman and the guy who's like, this is what they do a lot. Like with people like me, like the lawyers on TikTok and stuff. They go and like make videos about me, mocking me, telling everyone I'm stupid, I'm crazy, that I don't know how to read, whatever, you know. They're going around with this personal grudge, right? And trying to prosecute me online. And it says that's a danger to the right of privacy and security that's guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment. So what are these guys doing? They're violating the Fourth Amendment. And so do these police. They do the same thing. Overzealous policemen, right, who violate your rights. Now remember, the police are not trained on Fourth Amendment rights. First Amendment rights, apparently, either, because they don't know about recording in public, apparently. You know, which it's kind of crazy. You know, like you see like these cops, they go to people's doors, they put their foot in the door, and then they push their way through. They have no warrant, right? It's totally illegal. And they do it anyway because they're trained to do that. They're trained to infringe on your rights. But here's the thing: the 14th Amendment gives them the authority to do that. Okay, and this is the problem with the 14th Amendment. Let's go back. Let's see. But you know what I'll show you guys? I will show you guys the incorporation doctrine. How about that? We'll do that. All right, so we're going to go to the incorporation doctrine. Okay, chain. Incorporation doctrine. So the incorporation doctrine is a constitutional doctrine through which parts of the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution, known as the Bill of Rights, are made applicable to the states through the due process clause of the 14th Amendment. Incorporation applies both substantively and procedurally. Okay, so what they're telling you is that under the 14th Amendment, all of these rights were blocked, bloop, until you use the due process clause of the 14th Amendment. So it's inapplicable until the due process clause of the 14th Amendment. So once you can sue, then they can give you, this is why they don't do the whole right to travel thing. They give you a hard time about that, right? This is why we have a hard time with that one, because the states don't want people to have the right to travel. They don't want to acknowledge it. They've had to in the past, but they do everything they can to brush it off or push it aside because it doesn't make them money, right? And anything that's going to make them lose money, they're going to deter people from doing it, right? So it's really important to keep that in mind, that whenever they're deterring you from doing something, it's because they're going to lose money. And motor vehicle registration, fees, licensing, right? That's a $1 billion industry per state every year. Like legitimately like $1 billion. It's crazy. Okay, because between the traffic tickets, if you go look up your state and see how much the state made in revenue off of traffic tickets, it's about $500 million. And I'm surmising that between the amount of people who pay for registration, pay for licenses each year, right, and the renewals of them each year, it probably adds up to probably close to $500 million anyway. So they're making about $1 billion a year off of that. Okay. Yeah, so think of the property taxes. You have a legitimate claim in a state where that says that all land is allodial, and you go and say, I'm not going to pay my property taxes. They go threaten to take your home away. What are they doing? They're telling you that they don't care about the state constitution, that it's about money for them. We want money. Give us money. You have a contract with us to pay us money. That's right. The deed to your home is a contract to pay the county property taxes. Okay? That's what the deed is. Right? The deed is that. Money, 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 money. That's all they want. Okay. Hello. All right. So, all right. Prior to the doctrines, and the Supreme Court found the Bill of Rights to only apply to federal government and to federal court cases. Right now, it did apply to the people. Okay, because obviously it's something that restricts the government from doing things to the people. But remember, all the states had to sign and agree to the federal Constitution. Okay, so it's really interesting. This statement right here is not totally 100% true. They just found that they can't apply certain, like, if the state didn't have that provision, it still was protected under the federal Constitution, because that's the united agreement between all the states, is that federal Constitution. The state Constitution usually has all those things adopted into it anyway, right? But once they did the 14th Amendment, it was like blank slate, carte blanche, right? Bloop. And then now there's no rights other than, whatever rights you're given as a citizen of the United States, right? During the signing of the Constitution, every state in the negotiation had different levels of concerns with the too powerful federal government. And the preamble to the Bill of Rights highlighted the importance of the Bill of Rights in limiting overreach by the newly created government. Okay, so you see, they didn't want the government, the federal government, going after the states or having too much power over the states. Thus, the 10th Amendment was born, right, as such. All right. The Supreme Court noted that the Bill of Rights was clearly intended to limit only federal government. Now, I don't know how true that is. Okay. I mean, they talk about that in here, but I don't feel that that was the case. All right. States and state courts could choose to adopt similar laws, but are under no obligation to do so. But if they did violate your rights under the federal Constitution, you could always go to the federal government for redress of grievances. First Amendment. But the 11th Amendment prohibits that. Okay, now this one doesn't get a lot of talk, so we're probably going to have to talk about this one a bit. The 11th Amendment. So let's do that real quick. Let's talk about this 11th Amendment. We'll go here. There's 11th Amendment. Okay, it's really short, but it says the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. So you can't sue them. The Bill of Rights is supposed to be the Bill of Rights. Well, this is not the Bill of Rights right here. This is an amendment, right? So what they've done is given themselves protection against the people that they're going to harm. We're in martial law right now, so I'm asking on TikTok what are my thoughts on martial law. We've been in martial law since the enaction of the Lieber Code back in 1861. It's never been taken away. It's been going on ever since. So that's our 11th Amendment. And it says that we're not allowed to sue. So what is this doing? This is saying that well, I got too many things open. Too many things. I have to close some of these. And where was the other one? I had the Incorporation doctrine. Jeez. All right. It's all gone now. I'm losing everything. Corporation doctrine. Ah, here it is. All right. I'll keep these all together. Okay. So the 11th Amendment prohibits us from suing the United States. Total garbage, right? Who thinks that's a good thing? That we can't sue the United States? Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. All right, so after the passage of the 14th Amendment, the Supreme Court, through a string of cases, found that the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment included applying parts of the Bill of Rights to states, referred as incorporation. A lot of contention surrounds whether the 14th Amendment should incorporate any substantive rights, with opinions from Supreme Court justices ranging from complete to no incorporation. Rather than find that the Due Process Clause incorporates all the Bill of Rights, the Supreme Court supported selectively incorporating rights that the court finds as essential to due process. See, even here they go, well, you know, those U.S. citizens, we don't want to just suddenly give them all their rights. No, 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 no. Let's not do that. If you get one of these guys who's clever enough to bring it up into court and argue the case well enough, we'll give him those rights. Okay? Yeah, exactly. See, and that's the point. Why do they have a due process clause in the 14th Amendment if there was already a due process clause in the 5th Amendment? It tells you they knew exactly what they were doing, what they were setting up. They were setting up a whole new type of status for Americans to fall under, so that way they can have control over them, because they have no control, say, over state citizens. They only have control over their own creation, which would be the federal citizens. And then from federal citizenship, could they infiltrate the states and take over the states through their, well, we're trying to protect our people, because it's allegiance for protection, protection for allegiance, right? The Wong Kim Ark court case. That's what the whole allegiance is about. Okay, so, and you know, if you guys read that court case, it makes more sense now why when they talk about national United States, right? Non-citizen national, always allegiance. Whoa, what's all this allegiance? It's allegiance for protection, right? You want protection, you have to give allegiance. All right, if you give allegiance, they owe you protection. So, who do you want to get your protection from? Do you want to get it from the federal government? Do you want to get it from the local government? I don't trust the local government. Treats me like crap. Think I want protection from them? No thanks. Right? So yeah, common law. But common law does have a lot of these crazy court cases involved where they basically just nullify your rights. So you got to be careful when you utilize common law, because even those judicial proceedings could backfire on you. All right, so you got to be careful about that stuff. That's why people have problems with common law, because when they use common law, they use it like all of this statutory regulation crap and say, well, that's part of the common law too, and they're kind of right. So that's why you got to be careful with common law. But if we get to the heart of it, right? If you didn't hurt anybody, that's that. All right, case closed. Yeah. A non-citizen national, bad? No. I mean, I don't think American Samoans are bad. But that's what a non-citizen national is. It's an American Samoan. They owe permanent allegiance to the federal corporation. All right, under selective incorporation, the Supreme Court incorporated certain parts of certain amendments rather than incorporating an entire amendment at once. Isn't that? But you see, this is what they're doing. They're like, give them some breadcrumbs, right? Give the peasants some bread. Right, that's what they're doing here. Like this is totally disgusting. They, you know, but this is what usurpation looks like, right? Remember, the 14th Amendment was a tool of usurpation, right? This is what it is. I don't know who that is, but I know how to do UCC1 filings. All right. Some argue that the Privileges or Immunity Clause is more appropriate textual basis than the Due Process Clause for incorporation of the Bill of Rights. But because slaughterhouse cases dealing with this clause are surrounded by controversy, this theory is not supported by the majority of the court. Okay. As a note, the 9th and 10th Amendment have not been incorporated, and it is unlikely that they ever will be. The text of the 10th Amendment directly interacts with state law, and the Supreme Court rarely relies upon the 9th Amendment when deciding cases. Okay, so what are they telling you? There's no 10th Amendment in the states. So if there's no 10th Amendment in the states, guess what they don't have the power to do? Any of the shit that they're doing. None of it. Let's look at the 10th Amendment real quick. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So does the Constitution, right, allow or prohibit them to create a police force? No. But there is no 10th Amendment, so they don't have the reservation of those rights. They also say the people don't either. But under the 14th Amendment, you don't have those rights. Okay? Under the 14th Amendment, you don't have your 10th Amendment rights as one of the people. Keep that in mind. This is important to understand. Under the 14th Amendment, you don't have your 10th Amendment right as one of the people. The 9th Amendment, and this is the best one. This is like my favorite amendment. All right? The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. You have a right. You say it's my right. It is your right. Okay? Now, a right has something to do with natural law. Okay? Naturally, you have a right to do things. You have a right. Like people talk about like healthcare is a right. It's not. You don't have the right to someone else's time and labor. Period. If somebody wants to help you out of the goodness of their heart, they have the right to help you. Right? I saw a man fall down on the ground once. I went over there. I helped him up. I helped him pick up his stuff. You know, I didn't have to do that, but I did because I felt it was the right thing to do. So I took like 2 minutes out of my life to help the guy up. Big whoop. Okay. If I saw somebody bleeding on the side of the road or something, I go whatever I could do to help him. I would offer my help to him. Right? But does he have that right for me? No. Would it make me a better human being? Yeah, to go help him. But that doesn't mean that it's a right. You see? That's different. That's me being a good human being. But what they're trying to do in society today is force people to be good human beings, right? You can't legislate good behavior, okay? You can only legislate, they can only really legislate anything in a commercial capacity. They don't have a right to tell you what you can and can't do in your private affairs. They also have the ability, technically, to prevent one or to stop somebody from infringing on the rights of others. That is their job. Their job is not to sit there and tell you to give us money, give us money, give us money, give us money. Oh, you want to do this? Pay. You want to do that? Pay. Oh, you want to do that? Pay. They don't have the right to do all that stuff, and they do it because, why? Because the 14th Amendment allows them to stomp on all your rights because it's a big freaking brick wall between you and the Bill of Rights. Right? So the enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights, when they talk about how they listed out certain rights already, shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So they're saying there's other rights, but we didn't list them all. So if you have a right, this is your right. But just keep in mind that your right doesn't extend to the discomfort of others, right? Rights. Others' rights. Now, if I tell you I hate you and badmouth you, whatever, I have the right to do that. And you can be mad at me about it. And you can say it back to me, right? Because that's freedom of speech. Okay. All right. So that's, and then here's the things that is incorporated and then not incorporated. First Amendment is fully incorporated. Second Amendment is fully incorporated. Good luck telling that to Hawaii and New Jersey, though. Go ahead. And Chicago. Go ahead, tell Chicago that the Second Amendment's fully incorporated. Go ahead, tell New York City that the Second Amendment's fully incorporated. Tell Hawaii. They're going to tell you, well, we have laws here, you know, and we have the right to restrict, you know, who gets these things and who doesn't. No, you don't. You don't have that right. All right, Fourth Amendment, fully incorporated. Go ahead and tell the cops that one. Good luck with that. All right, you see, even though these things are fully incorporated on the 14th Amendment, they still deny you these rights. Eighth Amendment, I love the Eighth Amendment. I remember years ago, I had to go to traffic court in New York City, and then they started, it was like over one stupid little thing, and then they listed out like all this shit that I had to pay, and I looked at the judge, and I was like, and it was a woman, it was like the small little room, and I look at her, I go, that's a lot. She goes, well, that's what we do in New York City. And I said, no, the Eighth Amendment very clearly states that that you're actually going beyond capacity for such a small infraction. And she looked at me and she goes, that's how we do things here. We're not gonna have a debate about the Eighth Amendment. I said no, because I can sue for this. I think I'm gonna have to sue if you're gonna really make me pay like $800 over like a stupid, like making a left turn on this road. Like I made a left when it was supposed to go straight, but there was no sign that even said I had to do that. I said, this is bullshit. I'm not paying it. I'm going to sue you guys in federal court. And so she goes, well, we'll just take this on, she says, we'll take this, we'll take this case up later. And then they dismissed it later. Yeah. Excessive. That's the Eighth Amendment, right? Let's look at the Eighth Amendment now. Let's do that. Let's go to 8. Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. It was $800 fucking dollars because I made a left turn in a straight only lane, right? Where there was no sign or painted street that said that you couldn't make a left there. It wasn't posted anywhere. And I said, this is bullshit. You got the cops just sitting there waiting for people to make left turns here. And then you're going to fine them $800 for that? Fuck you. So they dropped the case. It's excessive. Yeah. New York City, you can get a little crazy in the courts there because they deal with like real crimes. So when you argue this shit, they kind of let it go. They're like, fuck them. They got real shit to deal with. But other towns, if you're in like a small town, right, not a big city court, they will fucking destroy your life over a fucking traffic ticket. All right, because they don't give a shit, because they got no other way to make money. These small little towns, this is how they make money in these small little towns. They go, well, we're just let's make a speed trap. And most people are suckers. They're just gonna pay this fucking speeding ticket, right? I'm gonna tell you about the tolls. If you have a DOT number and you're riding around with a DOT number and you go through the tolls and you forget to pay, who are you gonna send the bill to? Just saying. That's as far as I'm going to go into that story. All right. Is that the contract? Well, the driver's license is one contract. There's lots of contracts. Those are called minimum contacts, actually. We should look that up. I'm going to talk about minimum contacts. That's actually a good thing to bring up. Minimum contacts. Minimum contacts. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Because everything's federalized, the United States, all the states are considered subsidiary corporations of the federal government right now, right? Minimum contacts, right? Because if you corrected your status and you're no longer a U.S. citizen and you've corrected the record about who you are in relationship to the governments, right? You would be considered a non-resident alien for tax purposes, right? Which everything they're doing falls under a tax anyway. This is why the 1099s work. When you do them correctly, they do work. If you don't do them right, they don't do shit. So you got to understand how to use those. But everything falls under a tax anyway. Minimum contacts are a non-resident civil defendant's connection with the forum state, right? I.e. the state where the lawsuit is brought. So like if you live, let's say you inhabit Oklahoma and you get pulled over by Oklahoma cop, right? You're an inhabitant. That doesn't mean you're a resident. So you're a non-resident because you've changed you corrected your standing. Now, what he's going to be looking for is a connection with Oklahoma. Okay. He's looking for what kind of connection do you have with Oklahoma? And if he can find some kind of connection to you in Oklahoma, he can charge you. All right, because it would be sufficient for the forum state to assert personal jurisdiction over that defendant. The driver's license is sufficient connection with the forum state for all 50 states to come after you. All 50. So if you have a driver's license in one state, you got them in all. Like all 50 states can come after you. All right, because remember, secretly they're operating under this federal situation. So the whole thing's federalized. Okay. Lack of minimum contacts violates the non-resident defendant's constitutional right to due process and offends traditional notions of fair play and substantial evidence. This is why a lot of people say about cutting contracts, getting rid of your contracts. But the problem is that people will, you know, you can contract with the government. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You just have to know how to do it properly, so that way you don't have personal liability. This is why I use trusts. Okay, I use trusts to do all my minimum contacts. Right, I do it all through trusts. And when you do that, you're disconnecting from the foreign state through all those contracts. Okay, and as you're contracting through trusts, right? And this is why I have a whole trust community where I teach people trust law, how to do this thing, reducing your minimum contacts to zero, and then keeping out the liability for everything that you're doing. Okay. All right. Good luck with that, Esol. Good to see you. Can they use the code that's repealed? They've done that. I had a friend who spent 3 years in jail over a repealed law in Colorado, and she spent 3 years in jail after it. By the way, the law was repealed, and then about 2 years later, they pushed the law into her and put her in jail for 3 fucking years off of a repealed law. And she even said from day one, she goes, "How am I in jail over a repealed law?" And here's you want to hear the craziest part about it? When they released her from jail 3 years later, they erased her jail time from their paperwork. So it's like on paper it looks like she never even went to jail. So basically, this was malicious prosecution, right? And she spent 3 years in what she calls the gulag, right? And then this is real, but she's dangerous to them. See, that's why they did that. They took a repealed law, went after her on that, and threw her in jail. She spent 3 years in jail, and then they erased the records of her ever even being in jail. And about 2 of those years were spent in solitary because they find her to be so dangerous to the state, they don't even want her talking to the other inmates. It's that bad. Okay. And she's a force to be reckoned with. Okay, I'll tell you that. She's badass. All right. Anyway, but so they will do that if they really got their, if they got their eye on you. Yeah, they did, and I talk to her all the time, and she's still suffering from all that shit. They definitely fucked her up, but they didn't break her spirit. I'll tell you that. She's a fighter. She's like, I'm gonna get these guys. She's suing the DMV in federal court right now. And they're having a hard time because she's winning, which is really funny. Anyway, more on that later. All right, defendants' minimum contacts can take on the form of general jurisdiction or specific jurisdiction. Okay, specific jurisdiction. All right. But anyway, the thing is that when you have a minimum contact, they have jurisdiction. The Social Security card is a minimum contact. Okay, because it's your connection with the foreign state. The birth certificate is a minimum contact because it's a connection with the foreign state, right? Remember, a birth certificate in one state translates to all the states because under I gotta find the act. There's acts that happened in the 1940s, right? There was some stuff that happened before that. Of course, the Reconstruction Acts. This is where everything got federalized. They did it in sections over like a 80-year period. They did this, and that by 1947, all the states were federalized, and then like Alaska and Hawaii in 1959, when they became states, they first joined the Union, right, as a state, a sovereign state, and then submitted to the United States as a subsidiary corporation. But they did become a republic for a brief moment. What title do you give yourself when you write a letter to the court judge? It depends on the situation. It depends on what I'm writing. When I'm doing like on a writ, like I would be the petitioner. Okay. So it just depends on what you're saying or what's going on the paperwork. So the title changes per what you're handling. So the thing is about reducing minimum contacts. The best way to do it is by doing it through trusts. Stop using the social security number. Okay, stop using their stuff. Right now, I know some people are going to be like, well, I need to do this, or if you have a CDL, I understand, in those kinds of situations, there's some things you can't do because you have a job as a CDL, right? As a commercial licensed driver. So you need that thing in order to get paid. That's why the assumed name is such a good thing to do, because truck drivers have a lot of success using the assumed name because they're saying, well, yes, I'm holding the CDL for that business. Here's the business, all right? Here it is, and I'm just the name holder. I'm the name holder. So you're holding the name. It's not you, right? They go, is that you? No, I'm holding it. I'm holding the name. See? It's not me, right? You wouldn't say that I'm a book, right? But I'm holding a book. Name holder. Love it. All right. So, yeah, 14th buyer beware. Where we go? Oh, I got to do this. Select two objects that are the same shape. Oh. Okay. I have to do this thing. Yeah, Minnesota 2. I just did a TikTok on the Minnesota Rule 220 today. But yeah. All right. So what else we got going on today, people? What else? Eon should take head on this. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff going on in this Zoom chat here. I didn't even see. Don't talk to cops. That was right. Yeah, right on, John. Yeah, don't talk to cops. That's just your answer should always be, I don't answer questions. Allegiance is the consideration created to trust agreement. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got that right. Guys, if you're here on Zoom with me, you can unmute and talk. This is free for all. This isn't like let Joe rant the whole time thing. Fraudulent tag. Oh my God. Hey, what you're gonna do if you got like a fraudulent tag thing, what you should do is go look up the code that they're citing, right? That gives that, because when they did that to me in New Jersey, the code that they cited or the statute that they cited for that violation was about it was about plates having a like a personalized plate that the state could charge an extra $25 for a personalized plate. I'm like, that's not even a crime. Like you just said I violated a statute, but I'm unable to. There's no crime in this statute. There's not even a violation in the statute. It just gave the DMV the authority to charge $25 if you wanted to put like a name on or a word on as your plate number. Like this is ridiculous. So the judge looked at it and he goes, okay. And then he had it dropped because you can't charge somebody for a crime that doesn't exist. I did fighting now. Florida has a statute supporting my sign. All right, let's look it up. Let's look it up. Let's go see what it says. All right, let's go look. Florida statutes. Okay. And then we're going to go down to 14. 14. Private use means the use of any vehicle which is not propelled classified as a for-hire vehicle. Well, there you fucking go. It's right there in the Florida statutes, right? Private use means the use of any vehicle which is not properly classified as a for-hire vehicle. For-hire vehicle means any motor vehicle which is used for transporting goods, persons or goods for compensation, let or rented to another for consideration, offer for rent or hire as means of transportation for compensation, advertise newspaper, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so for hire vehicle, but let's look at the definition of motor vehicle, because this is how they're going to get you. An automobile, motorcycle, truck, trailer, semi-trailer, or any other vehicle operated on the roads of the state used for transportation of property or propelled other than muscular power, but the term does not include tractor engines, roller. All right. So first thing is persons. That's legal persons. Property, right? You can't transport people, right? Because that would be human trafficking. That's illegal. All right. Property. This is all for hire stuff. This is like doing things for hire. Okay. Recreational vehicle, travel trailer, camping trailer. So most of this stuff is under the assumption. Here, let's look at Florida vehicle registration application. Might have to type in PDF. Let's see. PDF. Okay. What is this? This is, yeah, here we go. Application. You guys got to read these applications. Check this shit out. I've never looked at this one before. So, application for certificate of motor vehicle title. Please submit to your local tax collector office. See? It's a tax, people. It's all tax. Are you a resident of Florida? Are you a Florida resident? Are you a U.S. citizen? So this is the 14th Amendment in action right on this application. Are you a resident? Remember the 14th Amendment? What's it say? Let's look at it real quick. Let's go, let's do 14th Amendment.
And Joe, they use words like motor vehicle versus automobile, or boat versus aircraft,
Yeah,
airplane versus watercraft, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, they do that on purpose. All right, so let's look at this. Hold on, I'm going to move this up here so I can move around between these a little bit better. All right. But the 14th Amendment says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Residency, right? So if we look back on here, do you reside? Yeah. Well, you just gave them jurisdiction, right? Are you a U.S. citizen? Yeah. Well, guess what you just did? Okay. Are you deaf or hard of hearing? Probably. If you've been hearing this the whole time, you can. I'm gonna say this again, and I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna drive myself crazy saying this again. Non-citizen national is an American Samoan. You're correcting your status to be a national state citizen. That's what you're trying to do, right? Non-citizen national is American Samoan. They owe permanent allegiance to the federal corporation, right? Because they're part of federal territory. You're not federal territory. When joint ownership, okay, joint ownership, middle name, okay. Are you deaf or hard of hearing? Motor vehicle description, okay. For title number, license plate number, okay. Let's see. Okay.
A lot of it's about tax too. I mean, it's capital gains,
Yeah,
in
it's all
court, or
right.
it's import or excise.
Yeah. Under penalty of perjury. Okay. Tax collector. Tax collector. Everything's about taxes. All right, it's a little different. Every state's thing is a little different, but this is for. Let me see. Let's see if we can find. Waiver of skill set, military certificate. Let's do motor. Let's see what we find for motor vehicle. Why is this not going anywhere? Okay. Title, surety bond for motor vehicle, application for notice of sale, insurance company, change your motor Wow, you need an affidavit. Oh, I can see why. I can see why they do that. Notice to surrender motor vehicle / vessel. Isn't that interesting? All right.
See, admiralty means international, and that's where some of the taxes are coming from.
Yeah. No, this isn't good. Some states it's different. Here, look, I'll show you the one in New Jersey. I saw this. Let's see, NJ motor vehicle registration application. Okay, you're gonna laugh when you see this though. Oh, I gotta take the PDF. Application request. No, this is just a request. This isn't even so stupid. Why do they do that? Okay. Application for okay, thanks guys. Application for vehicle registration. Okay. They're gonna shove it in your face here. On this one, they shove it in your face, and nobody reads this, and then everyone tells me that I'm crazy until they read this. Look what it says right here. All right. Will this vehicle be used for commercial purposes, which is defined as a motor vehicle or combination of motor vehicles used or designated to transport persons or property? Yes, no. Now, you see that they're being very upfront with you about what a motor vehicle is here on the New Jersey vehicle registration card, right? Very upfront, right? They're being very upfront about it. But when we go to the New Jersey, let's go to, jeez, man, there's so much stuff. Now let's go to NJ revised statutes. I like this website. It's easier. We're going to go down to 9. Words and phrases defined. This is where I get all these TikTok attorneys who come in and tell me, "Well, you got to go by the definition of the state. The state's definition is." You know what? Fuck you. Fuck those guys. You know why? Because they're all fucking liars. Because this is why they do this. They do this shit on purpose. Let me show you. Let me show you what they're doing here. Okay. Motor vehicle. Look at their definition of motor vehicle here. It says includes all vehicles propelled otherwise than by muscular power, excepting such vehicles as running upon rails or tracks, low-speed electric bikes, low-speed electric scooters, and motorized bicycles. So that's what they're telling you. A motor vehicle is everything except those things, right? That's their definition. So that's how these TikTok attorneys get away with this shit, where they say, well, the state's definition applies. Well, guess what? Why is the state telling me here that a motor vehicle is used for commercial purposes? They don't put in the definition, but on the registration, they tell you. Why? Because they have to be honest somewhere, okay? That's why they didn't put it on the Florida one, because in the Florida one, it tells you that it is. Look what it says. Motor vehicle, automobile, right? It's used for transport persons or property. Notice that wasn't said in the New Jersey definition. The transporting of persons or property is a commercial action. Okay? That's why it's not on that application. All right? But on here, because they left that part out in the definition, they have to put it on the registration application. See these sneaky people? I remember I brought my father-in-law. He went to the DMV one day. I said, "Hey, let me go with you. I want to grab some stuff there." And he's kind of like, "What? Why do you want to grab stuff from there?" Because he knows what I'm doing. It's not a secret. And we go there, and I grab the vehicle registration, and I show him that little thing there. He goes, "Holy shit, you're right." He was blown away by that. If you want to know that your status has changed, it has to come from within you. Okay. When in your heart you know who you are and what your rights are, that's your status correction. Okay. You can do all this paperwork and stuff, and that helps because you're trying to put them on notice about who you really are. But it comes from within, really. Like within, when you know that you're free and that you have rights, this is when you have this is when you have power. Okay. As one of the people, right? You are the posterity of the people who created the Constitution for their benefit. So it's for your benefit. Those rights are yours, and they have to protect them. And once you're standing in that kind of way, that's when you know your status is changed.
Hey,
Michigan's. Hey, what's happening?
hey, Joe, what's going on?
Oh man, you see what's going on. Hey,
Yeah,
well, welcome on.
hey, I see you talking about those rights. I sure am interested on how to obtain them. I've been listening to you for quite a bit. I think the first time I heard you was on that radio show with Roger Stiles, probably a couple years back.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Roger Sales.
Uh, he don't like talking the traffic stuff,
No, and I mean he's got
so
good reason
I've
to not
been
like
wanting
it.
to get in touch with you to see if you would maybe help a lot of people out. What exactly is the process for suing a police officer? I it's doesn't need to be a 3 hour lecture. It's just I'm having trouble doing it. I can get them fired. I've had a judge demoted. I've had a couple of cops go to another county, but I can't seem to get money.
Uh, well, like I was saying before, that 11th Amendment is why you have problems. So what you got to do, one thing is, uh, you have to, and this is the problem. This is why I don't like this shit, right? Because the only way you can sue them, you have to do it in federal court, and it has to be a 1983 case, right? Meaning a civil rights case, and you have to sue them in federal
Okay.
court on civil rights. Okay, that's the only way you're going to really be able to do it. Because if you're doing it in the state courts, they're just going to protect. They're going to protect their own.
Yeah, and about that, so the topic on void judgments, the okay, they don't have the contract. You've given the state notice. Give me the contract. You've contacted the DMV. They don't respond. You keep going to these court dates. When I ask them for a contract, you know what they give me? They mail me something in the mail, and it's a piece. It's like a couple pages, because I've been arrested like a billion times, and all they do is print out my arrest record and they give it to me and they say, "Here's the contract." I'm like, "This ain't a contract.
That's not a
This
contract.
is a printout of all the things that you tried to charge me with." I mean, I've had charges just drop left and right, but this whole you would think that if a person goes to jail, like for example, one of the things I'm trying to get money on is 66 days in jail with no bond on a driving without a license that was dismissed
What
on
state are you
court.
on?
What's that?
What state are you on?
Florida.
Oh, let's go back to Florida. By the way, I'll just let you know. I know other people went to jail for 6 months for driving without a license in Florida, so they're really
Oh
strict
yeah.
about that stuff. Um, some states won't do that unless you do it like a whole bunch of times. Then they'll throw you in jail. So I don't know if you have recourse on that. Um, to
Well,
be
how about
honest,
this one? If money, because honestly, with the trauma that's come with this, there really isn't an amount of money that's going to fix me because I'm done. Because the way that these cops do people, I can see where it would break them, and I could probably see, I see a lot of things. But how about the writs? How about the mandamuses, the prohibitions, the citatories? You know, at least be able to not be fucked with. You know what I'm saying? Like, how about that far?
well, you could do an injunction.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of that. I had a guy help me out with habeas, so I learned how to do those where you send one to the sheriff and then you send one to the state Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Court bounces that back to the lower tribunal. Then the lower tribunal hurries up and gets you in court and tries to get you to plea out to some sweet deal so they don't have to answer the head. I mean, I've been through all that. Now what I want to do, now that I got the passport, the DOT number, the EIN number, through your videos are really great, dude. You give people a breakdown on how to do this. Unfortunately, the DOT must be watching your videos too, because they change a lot of shit on their website. I just tried to help somebody get a DOT number, I don't know, a week ago, and they just changed the whole thing up.
This is why, yeah, this is the problem. You know that.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the
Oh, and
problem.
just so everybody else knows, I mean, yeah, you might get pulled over, but guess what? If you have a DOT number and a passport, you can't get automobile insurance. It ain't going to be that expensive, and you can negotiate with toll roads. That is a fact. And if you're an older individual and you're listening to this radio podcast and you decided to keep your driver's license and have handicap plates, you also might want to call them up, because they give you a big breaking price if you're riding in an automobile with handicap plates. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, that's why I made all the DOT videos private, because they were. I mean, one thing is that the local police were following me everywhere I would go. They would sit outside, right outside of here. They park right in front of the building, right there. Like, we're talking 80 feet away from where I'm sitting right now, and they would just sit there all day long, just listening to me, being here.
Oh, dude, I've been pulled over in the passenger seat in a Scion, a rental car, and a Ford Focus. I've been pulled over and talked to the police 5 times. I've been pulled out of my car 5 times. I've been searched 5 times in a week and a half. Just because me, they see me, I'm probably going to jail. I hate walking down the street.
Well, okay, so listen, you know what's happening is that they're using you for revenue. Okay, this is why I'm actually holding a bond class in June, where I'm going to show people how to do these bonds.
What do you mean bonds?
Bonds, it's a contract, right?
Yeah, but what for what? Yeah, okay, go on.
Yeah. So, all right. So the way this works, right? A bond is like a contractual agreement, right? That has like performance attached to it. Okay. Anyone who signs an oath of office has a bond, right? That is their bond, and it does pay out. It's a financial instrument as well. So the way the way I've been doing bonds, this is how, like, they tried to give me 13 years in jail, right, for carrying a pocket knife. Okay.
See what I told you about why I don't like Jersey? It wasn't because of the pizza. It's because if you're caught with a knife in your pocket, your life's over.
Yeah. See, guys, see, this is someone who knows what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, in New Jersey, if you're caught with one of these, okay, I won't show it on TikTok because TikTok's so sensitive.
Yeah.
But if you're caught with one of these things, guess what? That's 5 years.
Yep.
5 years. And they gave me 4 charges with this, or 5 charges, 5 felony charges for having one of those on me. Actually, I had 3 of them on me at the time. But the bonds is the way to handle this thing. It is a correct process, because it has been working. It's worked for numerous types of court cases. It's worked on all kinds of different issues. And what the thing is that people don't realize, that bonds are actually a complete part of the system that we're actually fighting against. And this is why the system is so protected. And it's really because of bonds. It doesn't matter where I was. I don't care. I could be carrying fucking M16s in my car if I want to, technically by law, but per the Second Amendment, and I should be totally fine. It doesn't matter, because we're in America.
Hey,
and in
Joe,
America we
just
have
real
rights.
quick, I understand the
talking
weapons and everything,
Wait, hold on.
but to get around the Second Amendment, I think the biggest argument here would be the Fourth Amendment.
No, I was talking to someone on TikTok. I'm
That
on
one's
live.
kind of the
I'm
kicker
I'm st-
because they're always
I'm
like,
streaming on
"Oh, hey,
TikTok.
how are you? Let me see your ID." Oh my God, here in Florida, you try to hand these cops over here a passport, they lose their shit. I literally have a receipt from where the sheriff's department gave me my passport back. And the point that they just stop you, give me your shit. Oh yeah, by the way, put your hands on the car. I want to check you down for weapons, and boom, you're done. And if you don't consent to it, then it's a resisting arrest.
Okay, so um, now as I was saying, I'm also streaming on TikTok. So I'm reading the comments on TikTok. I'm trying to read the comments on YouTube, but there's not a lot of comments on YouTube, and that's fine. Uh, so I get a little back and forth on stuff. All right. So, but the thing is that someone was asking on TikTok, where was I when I was caught with the knife? I was in my car, but it doesn't matter. I could be walking around the street with freaking, like M16s, and it should be totally fine, technically. But you're gonna go to jail if you're walking around the streets with an M16 because those are actually prohibited for civilians. It's for military use only, which is another like that's bullshit, right? If the military can have it, we can have it. I
I,
had a Maryland carry for 20 years and they still stole my gun. What the? See what I mean? Like these guys are psychopaths. They're total psychopaths. By the way, they actually gave one of them back to me when they released me from like they arrested me. They found the 3 knives on me. They gave one of them back to me, and they still charged me with possession of three weapons charges, right? Like 3 weapons, and I'm like, but you gave one back. And then I showed a friend of mine who's an attorney. He goes, "They gave it back to you?" He's like, "That's weird." I'm like, I don't know. The cops gave it back to me. What's my name? I call bullshit. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but the reason why they do this with the guns and stuff like that is because if you have the same power that they have, then the playing field is level, and they don't like that. That's why they created the 14th Amendment. That's why the states do all these restrictions on guns. Well, you need a permit, or you need this, and you got to do that. You got to make sure that you walk backwards every Tuesday for 5 minutes, or else we take them all from you. Right? They got to do some weird shit. All right. What county are you in? What county?
who, me?
Oh, Florida guy. Yeah, it's it.
It's Brevard County. Brevard County made damn, what's that guy's name? Last night, the week or something, whatever his name is, talked about the Brevard County Sheriff's Department being the
Anyway, anyway, my whole point was that though that the bonds, right? You have to understand a bond is an obligation in writing, right? It binds the people who sign to pay, right, a sum, depending upon like an event that happens, right? If an event happens, then they have to pay money, right? We can take a look at that in a little bit. Yeah, we'll look at that Texas code in a minute. But I'm talking about these bonds thing because this is the situation. This is probably why you want to do the bond class because when you're
is that.
bonded, right? The bond protects you. That's your form of protection. The state is bonded. The judges are bonded. The cops are bonded. All these other people are bonded. This is why you're having a hard time suing them because they are bonded. Okay, and they're bonded. It's an indemnity, right? So there's a few different there's tons and tons of types of bonds. I mean, there's all kinds of bonds. An injunction bond, you can have a bond for an injunction, which is the kind of bond you'd probably want to do. All right, so that way the injunction is bonded, and that means they can't do anything to you. Okay, now someone did say that there needs to be a ruling in order to have an injunction, right? And that's true. Okay, you do need to do that, but you would take the injunction, you would do like a writ, a prohibition with the Supreme Court, get them to rule on it, and then bond it and then doing a bonded injunction after that. Okay, and then that way you're protected. They can't bother you anymore. If they're that crazy, that's what you're going to have to do something like that,
Yeah,
right?
hey Joe, the so that prohibition to the Supreme Court and then all that fun stuff. Uh will the status correction make that happen, or you got to argue it just any other way?
What do you mean?
Wait, let me rephrase that. Would those prohibitions only work for a state citizen?
With the bond that I was just saying,
No, the prohibition.
that works. Anyone can do a writ of prohibition. I did a writ of prohibition once, and then the judge, when I told the judge about it, I mean, she had it in her hand, so I don't understand why she did this. But I said, well, there is the writ of prohibition, and she fucking snapped.
Yeah.
You know, she went fucking bonkers off of that, and I was like, interesting. And I was like, you know what it is? You know what it is? And it just reconfirmed something for me, which is that those municipal courts, they're all private. It's all private bar business.
Yeah.
And that reaffirmed it, because what I did was I took private bar business and brought it out to a higher court, right? Which was not private bar business. And it pissed her off because I'm laying out their dirty laundry publicly. So that's why she got so upset. Also, on the fact that the writ of prohibition listed out about 12 rights that were violated by not just her, the prosecutor, and the police
Yeah.
that arrested me, right, on that situation.
Yeah.
And it was like I listed about 12 rights, all from the New Jersey Constitution, not even from the federal Constitution, from the New Jersey Constitution, and from the state statutes that said that they had to follow certain procedures, which they didn't follow with me. And she saw all that and was like, oh shit. You know, that's why the prosecutor was like, he was like laughing at me, but the paperwork, and he goes, none of this makes any sense. Oh, this is stupid. And I look at it and go, well, and you know how I am, right? You guys don't get something? Well, let's go dig into it and let's go understand it, right? That's how I am. And
Yeah.
I was like, I said to him, I said, well, let's see where your confusion is. Let's look at this document. And so I started breaking it down piece by piece with him. And he got so fucking frustrated with the fact that I understood the writ of prohibition that he just kind of went, oh, whatever, dude. That was his reaction. Because guys, you know, I mean, if you've been watching me, you've been following me, and you go, I don't get that. Well, let's understand it then. I'm not going to be one of those. I see guys online where they do this, where someone goes, I don't understand this. And he goes, what the fuck's your problem? What the fuck's wrong with you? How could you not understand, man? You stop being a stupid idiot. Blah, blah, blah. How does that help people learn? How does that help people learn? You know? Anyway, I see what guys do, and I'm not going to name drop or anything like that, but there's no point to it. But the only thing that frustrates me is when I tell the same person the same thing 50 times. I'm like, it's not getting in there? Come on, man. It's the same guy, that's one thing, but there's always someone new. Yeah. They
Well,
do
Joe,
want us to learn.
some people are just now hopping into this thing, and which, you know, is sad, because, you know, I wish more people were getting into this, you know, a while back. You know, I kind of hope people got into this when 9/11 hit, but, you know, this is information. You can't just the status alone, just the difference between a U.S. citizen and a state citizen. That'll probably take somebody a good 6 months just to wrap their head around that.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, what I was saying, like the bonds is very important, right? Bonds fuel this whole country, right? Bonds are what's used to back up or the United States. Okay, the bonds are behind all the security interests, right? All those things are bonded. The birth certificates, right? All of this stuff. And here's the thing: people do not understand bonds, okay, or how to utilize them properly. I've seen someone put my insurance bond up on Scribe. I don't care. I gave it away for free, so go ahead, share it, right? But I see people buying it or selling it for like $250, right? And if you want to go buy the same insurance bond I gave away for free from someone else, fine, go ahead and send the money, all right, and go get the bond. But I gave it. The bond class is going to be in June, all right. It's the whole month, by the way. It's not one class. It's going to be the entire month of June. We're doing a whole thing on this.
Is
Okay.
it going to be private?
It's private. Yeah. It's not going to be made public ever. Because a lot of this stuff with bonds and how these things operate, it is private. Some of this stuff I couldn't, I had to deduce from observation, but I couldn't find it written anywhere. But I'm like noticing things. I'm like, I notice this every time. I notice that every time. I'm noticing these things. And I took notes on all that shit, right? That's what I do. Like I take notes on things. Actually, this is not my notebook, but this is my book on perfected processes. So when I perfect a process, I write it down in this book exactly how it works, the entire process with the theory behind it. What I've noticed was that there are certain elements that go on, like if you look at a dollar, what I did was I looked at the dollar bill, right? And I did this when I was a kid, like we looked at this thing as a child, and I noticed all this weird stuff in here, right? Everyone's done this, right? Everyone's probably saw or watched some kind of conspiracy video somewhere where they talk about the dollar bill and all the weird stuff, the all-seeing eye, right? And it is weird. But that number on the bottom of the pyramid is actually 1776, right? That's the year. Turn that into 2 million. Yeah, this is actual because it's two-sided. That's why they never changed this one, because this one's bonded. These are bonded, by the way. All right, you can tell because of the way they're set up. Once you understand what a bond is and what it does, look at this thing. Go look at a birth certificate. Go look at a certificate of title. And you're going to notice something. And then go look at those old school bonds. Okay? Go look at those bonds that they used to sell. Okay, here, let's pull one of these up. Let's go bond coupon, just to get some pictures here. And then let's look at this. You guys are gonna see what I'm talking about in a second. Oh, I think I just muted someone by accident or unmuted someone.
It's all right.
Well, so didn't mean to do that. All right, I'm gonna show you guys. So if we look at these pictures of bonds, look at this thing, right? Look at the corners. Look at the corners. Look at the border. Okay. This is all from observation, just looking at it. Right. This is why I've done this. Like, it's really interesting. So if you just like look at something and just stare at it for a while and just observe it, things about whatever you're observing start to come out, and the truth can be revealed to you just from simple observation. Right? Just observing to observe, not to do any like, what's this here? What's that? Just kind of looking at it, and all of a sudden things will come out at you, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they reference the plate number. All that stuff is on there. There's serial numbers on here. There's serial numbers. But why is it that every corner has a number in it? Why every corner? Why is that? Notes are not considered money, by the way. And these things are called notes. So this isn't money. But the bond does the same thing. All four corners have a monetary value in it. Okay? Now look at your birth certificate. The birth certificates don't have a monetary value written on it, but look at the thing. I can't give it an answer to a question I didn't see. Oh, define question, give the answer. Define question. Yeah, define. Yeah, that's right. Look up all the words. What do the words mean? Yeah, he's got it. Okay, the number need. So when I was doing this, observing like a dollar bill, a $2 bill, a $5 bill, the $2 bills and the singles are the same thing actually, because they do the same thing. See, here's a $2 bill, and they do the same thing. They're the same. It's just one's just two and one's one. But they have a lot of similar things. And look, on the back is like the, what is this? The Continental Congress, I think, or something. Or the Declaration of Independence. Right? On the back. But this is bonded. These are all bonded. All right? Do you need a password to join Zoom? I don't think so. My grandmother purchased 25 for every birthday. Oh, that's good. See? So, yeah, those bonds can protect you. You have to utilize them the right way. Debt bond. So, all these things. Look, this one's bonded too. These are different though, because there's something different about these. Yeah, I have the insurance bond on my Telegram. It's in there. So yeah, you can just use that one. But the bond, by the way, the bond's accepted by the DMVs. So if you want to keep your car registered and stuff, but you don't want to pay for insurance anymore, just use the insurance bond that I wrote because the DMVs take them. So those are A-OK to use. They work. Bonds that I wrote because the DMVs take them. Those are A-OK to use. Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, so from observing all this stuff, I noticed that there's some consistency with what these things are doing, although it's not written anywhere. But when I just kind of copied what they were doing with the bonds, that's when I noticed that this stuff started to actually work. Now this right here, I'll show you how this works. Right? Now this portion is the bond here. Okay, the portion I'm like writing in. You see it has like, it says 100, right? And all four corners. It's a bond. I gotta be careful what I say on TikTok though. The cops don't understand the insurance bond. You just send a copy to the prosecutor and then they drop the charges. It's a pain in the ass, but that's what you do. And then just tell them to put the cops on notice about the freaking insurance bond and not to ticket you anymore for it. Right? These are the coupons for the bond. So every month or every 3 months or however they're set up, you can just take one of these coupons and just deposit it as a check into your bank account. Cool, right? These are the coupon bonds. That's literally like how the bills are set up today too. They're set up the exact same way. You get the billing statement, and then on the bottom of the billing statement is the coupon. Yes, you can use the bond for home insurance. I've used that bond. Now that's the thing, is that it has to be altered for that purpose. So you have to understand how bonds are put together. Okay, but so I've used it to insure I insured like one of those like tree servicing companies. They needed like I think we did like $100 million bond or something like that because they were chopping down like giant trees in the forests. It's in there. You just gotta keep looking. Just type in car bond or something, and you'll find it in the file section. All right. But yeah, that's but I've insured cars, homes, businesses using those using bonds. Okay. They have to be set up differently because there's differences on these contracts, right? Remember, bonds are still contracts. Like, look, this whole language in here, you see all that language in there that we can't read? That's a contract. Homes, businesses. Okay. Again, feedback. Yeah, okay, just bonds are still contracts. Like, look. It says a schedule. Okay, yeah, that's direct message. Yes, I got it somewhere. I'll have to look it up somewhere. How would we set up the bond for home? Okay, so I mean, it depends on which state you're in. So that's all. There's all this stuff involved with that. All right, home insurance and the bond. Okay, but you have to look in your state laws. What is the bond coupon? What is it? Maybe we can get closer to see the contract. Can we? Oh no. Oh, it's free? Look at that. I'm gonna go to this thing right now. Gold bond. Free. You save $1,695. Should I do it? I think I'm gonna do it. Add to wish list. Shit, I'm getting it for free. I'm fucking ordering this shit right now. Are you kidding? $100 for living. Fuck yeah. All right, I'm gonna order that. It's just for order. But it's free. I'm just gonna order it, get it. All right, cool. Now I'm gonna
You're funny. You're funny.
It's free. I'm ordering that thing right now. So forget it, you know. But But yeah,
Yeah, it took me 5 tries to go from the YouTube information to the Zoom to be able to be on live with you. 5 tries, and 4 times it asked me for a passcode.
okay, see, yeah. Okay, now this question here from Freedom by Paper says, can you explain how you would use it to fix, say, a roof from high winds? See, this is the thing this is where things get into difficulties that people don't get. And I've had a lot of problems explaining this to people because they don't understand this. I've seen people asking, how do you monetize it? How do you monetize the bond? It's monetize how? How would you monetize something? It's already monetized. There is no money, right? There's no money. So when people ask that question, it shows that there's a lack of connection to what is money and that whole thing, like, oh, the bond is already monetized. Now, the thing is this, though. How do you pull credits out of the bond? It's already monetized, right? So how do you pull the credits off of the bond? You got to do through coupons. Okay, if it's a registered bond, right, then you can draw portions of it off. But you remember something. This is important. When you do this, you need to have, like, I have this thing. Let me show you. See this book, cash book, right? Cash book. So the cash book is a running record of that bond, right? Like I have. Well, this one's not for the bond, but I have ones for the bond. This is the money. It's the account. Okay, you guys gotta know this stuff, right? Look, let me show you something here. Let's go back to here real quick, but I'll just move over a little bit. Go here. We'll go to 31 U.S. code. Yeah, that's fine. I just want to get in there somewhere. Okay. Money, right? Let's look at this. Monetary system. Decimal system. This is important, all right? This is one of the most important things you're going to need to understand about money. The United States money is expressed, okay? You see, it's expressed in dollars. Dimes are tenths, cents are hundredths, and mils are thousandths. A dime is a tenth of a dollar, a cent is a hundredth of a dollar, and a mil is a thousandth of a dollar. That's like that 9/10 at the gas station. That's a mil, okay? Remember, it's expressed in dollars. Now let's go here. Let's go look at a bill, right? Electric bill. Let's say electric bill. Okay, we'll get a little. Oh, come on. Okay. All right. Can we? No? Oh, I'm in the wrong button. It's my fault. Okay, now if we look here, we're zooming in as much as I can. Hey there, goodbye. Okay. Oh man, I can only zoom in so much, huh? All right, now if we look here, it says please pay amount. Right? Look at this symbol here. Okay. This has one line through it. This is as much as I can zoom in on it. That is not a dollar symbol. That's a peso symbol. Watch. Let's look at this. So let's do peso sign. Right? Peso. Wait, hold on. There's another one. Where am I at? Oh, too much. Okay. Peso symbol. No, that's not the right one. Oh, wait. I just had it. Where'd it go? Here it is. Yeah, sign of the Mexican peso is this. You see? Here, look. This is the Spanish, because it's not a US dollar. This is the US dollar. See this? You guys see the difference? This is exactly what's going on here. The peso is written out like this, the Mexican peso. Okay? The US dollar is written out like this, right? Now, what they're doing here is they're asking you, No, where is it? To pay what? Pesos. That's not U.S. currency. Where does it say dollars? Do you even see the word dollars on here anywhere? Go look at your bill. Go see if it's the word dollars is written on there. It's not expressed in dollars, is it? Because U.S. dollars can't be fiat. But check this out. This is important, and then I'm going to show you how this works. All right. All right. And this is why the accounting is important. This is how we're monetizing the bond. All right. The word money is substituted for money of account to eliminate unnecessary words. As far as can be determined, the phrase money of account has not been interpreted by any court or government agency. The phrase was used by Alexander Hamilton in his report on establishment of the mint, 1791. In that report, Hamilton propounded 6 questions, including what ought to be the nature of the money unit of the United States. Thereafter, Hamilton used the phrase money unit of the United States and money of account interchangeably. And in the sense that the phrases are used to denote the monetary system for keeping financial accounts. Financial accounts. Your bond is the beginning or the establishment of a financial account. Okay? So when you have the bond, you have to create a ledger, money of account. Now you have a ledger. What can you do with that ledger? You can move funds off of that ledger onto someone else's ledger. This is the coupon. So let's say you have a bond for $100,000. Okay. Let's say your roof got ripped off of your house. You can take a coupon. Let's say the damages were $20,000. You take a coupon from that bond and you pay the $20,000 with the coupon. Okay. But now your ledger has to change to reflect that. So you have to show my account now shows $80,000 left on the bond. So the bond is discharged in the amount of $20,000. It's been used to that amount. Okay. That's how we monetize these bonds. But sometimes it gets really hard to explain all that, and to go into the details of how to do it is really it can be painstaking sometimes. Okay. But yeah, that is how you do that. So if you want to have the bond monetized, it's already monetized. You put a number amount on there, it's good to go. But I'm going to show you guys in the bond class the entirety of how these bonds work, how we utilize them. I'm also going to show you how to use their bonds, because we can use like treasury bonds and stuff like that, like the Treasury Direct, right? See, someone's still asking, how did you fund the bond, right? Like this is the misunderstanding about what fiat currency is. It's accounting, right? You put a number on there. Now that's the amount that the ledger holds, and you use the ledger to create. That's it, right? You send the coupon to who you're paying. Okay. Do you need an incident report, or can you just pay for a new roof? Well, I mean, it depends. If you do an incident report, who you doing it to? You know what I mean? If you have a guy come over to fix the place, you can pay him with the coupon, but you have to do it through, no, you don't need a trust to do. Yeah, those questions you can just share publicly. All right. So, you don't need to create a trust to do the bond. It's better to have everything in trust because of the minimum contacts we were talking about earlier. But the bonds are your form of protection against the state trying to do shit to you, like the way they were doing stuff to people, like that they don't want done to them, right? Just like how the judge doesn't want you to sue him. What does the judge do? He's bonded. The cop doesn't want you to sue him. He's bonded. That's why the cops laugh at people when they say, "Oh, I'm going to sue you in court." Yeah, good. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Because he knows that the state will protect them, but if you sue him in federal court, and this is the beautiful thing, guys, this is why the assumed name is so important and doing the trademark is important. Because once you have those things in place, okay, they have no qualified immunity. It's all gone. Okay. And now you have real standing to sue them in court, and you can get paid. Okay, the assumed name is important because it acts as a trademark. The federal trademark is great because you bring them to federal court. Nobody in the country is allowed to use that name without your permission. Okay, and if you say, yeah, you can use that name, but it's going to cost you $20,000 per use, they have to pay you if they're going to use it. That includes court work, paperwork. The courts aren't allowed to use that name. So what they'll do, they're going to modify the name. I've seen this firsthand with my own stuff. They modify the name, right, to get around all that stuff. It's very cute, you know. Yeah, man, that's what I did the bonds with. At first, I was doing them. First, like I started doing bonds like investment, right? When I was learning about bonds years ago. Do I have the book here? I have a book somewhere. It's probably over there. But I had this book on like financial management for like corporations and stuff. And they talk a lot about corporate bonds and how they use bonds to fund the companies. And reading into that was how I learned about bonds. And I said, wow, that'd be really cool. I could do that, make some money off of some bonds. And they list out the different types of bonds that exist. There's a lot. There's a lot of different types of bonds. There's bonds to get paid. There's bonds for all kinds of stuff. The GSA bonds, you can use those GSA bonds. Someone brought it up on TikTok earlier. You can use those GSA bonds. I will go over that stuff in the class too, on how to utilize those GSA bonds. Like if someone's like facing like jail time and stuff like that, how you can utilize that for those situations, stuff like that. Unless you hurt somebody. If you hurt someone, it's different. We're talking about like going to jail for the driver's license shit. Like there's no injured party, right? They can't throw you in jail. That's against the law, right? They need your consent, right? To throw you in jail, right? For anything less than a year. GSA, yeah. It's in Title 18. Let me see. I forgot where it's at, but it's in here somewhere. I think it's like 18 something, 18. No, I forgot where it's at. I'll find it. Let's see. Protection of trade secrets. That was in prisons. Prisons. It should be in here. I forget where it is. Here, let me show you guys what I'm trying to look up here. Oh, you know what? I think I know where it's at. It's over here. No. Oh no, I'm mixing up something here. Shipping. Thought it was in here, but I don't see it. Protection of trade secrets, public lands, racketeering. Shoot. I don't remember. Yeah, it's a shame. Consent. It's about consent. They need to have your consent to go to jail. And it's in here. It's in Title 18 somewhere. I forget where. Unless someone knows. Does anyone know? Maybe someone else knows out here. Oh, maybe it's under. No. Damn. I forget where it's at. The roofer would be mad if I give him a coupon. Yeah, it would look like a check. You just have to monetize it on the back. You just see what I mean. Like, this is the thing. You can't just go and do that. You have to know what you're doing first, right? In order to do that. 1623 maybe 1623. No, it's in here. I forget. Whatever. All right. Well, I'll find it and then we'll continue that. It'll bug me. No, it's gonna bug me. This isn't right. That's why I'm in the wrong section. There you go. Penitentiary imprisonment consent. Persons convicted of offense against the United States or by a court martial punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year may be confined in any United States penitentiary. A sentence for an offense punishable by imprisonment for 1 year or less shall not be served in a penitentiary without the consent of the defendant. It's 18 U.S. Code 4083. That's what it is. 4083. That was good. It's Title 18. So, there you go. We're going to give you 6 months in jail while I don't consent. Bye. So, isn't that cute? All right. Did anybody open the link that he posted? It seemed kind of sketchy. What was AA? What's this? Police qualified immunity. Hold on. I'm going to pull this up. Now this is the thing. See, when people share stuff like this, you gotta do your research on this. This is what I was talking about earlier. What is qualified immunity? Qualified immunity is the protection afforded to police officers and public officials against lawsuits while performing duties in official capacity. This means a police officer or public official cannot be sued for doing their job as long as they do in their job in good faith and do not knowingly violate their oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution. Even if they violate your constitutional rights but believe they were carrying out the laws or rules to the best of their knowledge at the time. But this is only if they had no other way of knowing they were doing wrong at the time they committed the violation. This is why they don't train them on the Constitution. So that way they can always violate your rights and go, I didn't know. Right? However, if you assert your rights and alert the officer or public official that they are in danger of violating your constitutional rights or the statutory laws protecting those rights before the act is done, and they proceed to the violation anyway, then it is an act of willful ignorance, and the police officer or public official loses that qualified immunity and can be sued in the personal capacity of the United States Code, aka U.S. Code Titles 42, Section 1983, 1985, 1986, or U.S. Code Title 18, 241, and 242. You can't sue them under this one because this is called criminal, and the FBI or some other agency would have to bring those criminal charges. This is all civil. You can sue them in civil court, 42, but you have to be a U.S. citizen. But if you got the assumed name certificate, guess what? That's your U.S. citizen. Okay? This is because once alerted to the danger of violation of constitutional rights with specific laws they will be violating, if they proceed, they are obligated to investigate the claim and make sure they are not willfully, knowingly violating their oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution. Because when they do, their government protection is lost, and they are personally liable for any damage they cause from that point on. I would say that's fine. I don't think that's a problem. You said they had a link, though, right? A link. don't see a link. I think it was just that, right? Was that just the only thing they did? All right. Let's see. Close window. Okay, so we're back. Okay. Hey. All right. So, any other questions, comments, arguments, rebuttals? Nothing. Where's the YouTube thing here? Okay. I'm interested in your bond class. How much do you charge? Okay, here, I'm going to share the link for all the. If you do down in here, I'm just going to put the link in YouTube. Okay, and that's for the trust community, for the classes. There is a there's a mentorship class coming up in May. Okay, where it goes over like, the minimum contacts, the separating from the foreign state, separating from the federal government, the whole tax issue, settling your issues with taxes, and then contracting back into the state without liability. Okay. Yeah, I can put that on here too. Let me see. So if you learn how to contract back with the state without liability, okay, without personal liability, that's the safest way you can do it. But you have to get rid of the contracts first, and then understanding how the trap works, then you can put yourself back into the system through other means, trust and stuff like that. That's why I have the trust community, because the trusts are the best way to contract. The assumed name is another way, is another via. All right, but the trusts are the best way because you can do a lot of things with trust that you can't do in your personal capacity. Okay, you can utilize certain things, the courts of equity and stuff like that, right? And you can invoke a court of equity with $50. Did you know that? It's like common law. You want to invoke common law, it has to be a matter over $20, but any matter over $50 invokes equity. And then when you have courts of equity, okay, things change a lot. Courts of equity don't utilize any of the statutes or codes or anything like that. All that shit gets tossed out the window. Okay, I did share it. I don't know if it's gonna let me. I'm gonna pin it, but TikTok won't let me pin it on here. So go ahead and question that one. Oh, cool. Yeah, I might do that one day. I think I will. I have a lot of processes in here that work. There's one for a promissory note. There's some 1099 processes in here that work. There is a way to end summonses to court that works, right? Even if you're in a pretrial arraignment, okay? There is, I have moving the car out of maritime jurisdiction. That's in the book too. Okay. There's a few processes I have in here. All right. There's the other things about utilizing the estate. If you rescind your citizenship, you should be deported. That's a jackass statement. That's a jackass statement. I'll tell you why. Native Americans are born right here on the land of America. Technically don't have to be U.S. citizens if they don't want to be. You ain't deporting them. Where the fuck are you going to send them? Right? So that's a stupid comment on that alone. Plus the other thing is, if you have an American passport, where the hell are they going to send you? I went and rescinded my citizenship. You're still a state citizen. See, this is what he doesn't get. See, he makes comments like that because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, right? When you're talking about U.S. citizenship, you're still a state citizen. But the Department of State recognizes state citizenship under the term national. So you're a national, but you're still a citizen, but you're a citizen of the state. Okay? Where the fuck are they going to send you to? Oklahoma? Like, come on. Like, you see, this is the kind of nonsense that people are talking about online because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? And that's the kind of shit that annoys me. It's stuff like that. When people say that, because that's fear-mongering, and I don't stand for that crap, right? That's a fear-mongering bullshit statement you made. Where are they gonna send a state citizen to? Where? Where are they gonna send El Salvador? Yeah, fucking right. I say I was born on the land in New York. They go, well, you're not a U.S. citizen, so we can deport you. The hell you can? You can't do shit. You can't fucking deport. I've never even left the United States of America. So how the hell would I be deported to a country I've never even been to? Go figure that one out, you fucking moot. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is the kind of shit I can't stand, because you got this guy coming in here talking this shit, kind of fearmonger people. You're going to get deported. Yeah. Yeah. How the fuck you going to get deported with a passport? What a U.S. passport? You fucking dumb shit motherfucker. I can't stand people like that. All right? Like, you piss. I've been dealing with this guy a lot, and this guy has never made a valid argument once. He just says stupid ass shit. State citizenship is a game. Have you not read the Constitution? Okay, let's go to the Constitution. Hambone is here, and he's going to talk about shit because he wants everyone to be part of slave to the system. So I love that he's here. Welcome here. Let's fucking chew your ass out today. All right, let's look at the U.S. Constitution, and we're going to check out what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at state citizenship. Because guess what, Hambone? You're a state citizen too. You are a state citizen, but you're a state citizenship through residency. Congratulations. You got bent over twice. Because you're a federal citizen and you're a resident. How could the fuck could you be a resident alien and a citizen at the same time? I don't get
That was
citizen
an awesome
benefits.
statement. He was bent over twice.
It's true. I don't get. Okay. All right. List out all the citizen benefits I get. Go ahead. List them out. Bambone. Come on, Hambone. What is it? He's just. This is why I won't block this dude, because he comes in and says this stupid ass shit, and then I can make him look like a fool. This is great. I love it. Come on. What you got?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, Coco. That's exactly what he's doing. He just comes to antagonize. Nope, I don't use Social Security.
Really?
Try again. See, he's just making assumptions. So. Hambone. Yeah, what someone's talking on here. What's going on? Is that Mitchell?
Sorry, dude.
I'll say he don't want to talk.
No, I'll chat.
use
I just reopened the Zoom, dude, and I didn't realize my mic was on. Sorry, bro.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. All right. We all use Social Security. I don't use the Social Security number. I'm not using it. I'm not collecting Social Security. Can you prove that I'm using Social Security? Do you have any first-hand knowledge of my use of Social Security? I'm not going to. See now he's like, you will. Yeah. Let's see about that one. I don't fucking need Social Security.
I'm not taking it.
Yeah,
I
see?
just turned 66. I'm not taking it.
See, Hambone, you can't hear because it's in my ear, but the people on here on YouTube with me saying they're not going to take it. They're already past the age. They won't do it. So it's all you and your stupid bullshit. Because guess what? Well, I'm not a federal employee. I don't collect survivor benefits. So it doesn't apply to me. So you keep going on with your pipe dreams about how everyone has to be a slave to the system and be on their knees to the almighty powerful government that you have to pray to instead of praying to who you should really be praying to, right? They're not taking it. I'm not going to take it. I don't take disability. I've been fucked up real bad before in the past. I hurt my back, couldn't walk for about like 9 months. And I didn't even attempt to get disability. I didn't even make the attempt because fuck the government. That's why. I don't deal with their shit, you know? See? You know what it is? Because Hambone, you know what the problem is this. See, you're not a real man. You can't stand on your own 2 feet by yourself. You need the government to support you. All right? And you think that because you're set up that way that everyone else is. But not everyone else is set up to be weak like you. Okay? Some people are strong and and they have power, and they have conviction, and they can do things without the government helping them. Okay, and those are real men and real women. Okay, unfortunately, you don't fall into that category, so you're just going to be one of these little pushovers that go, please help me, please help me. I'm so weak without you, almighty powerful government. Well, we don't play that game here, right? I'm not going to play that game. I don't give a shit about them. If the government was to collapse today, my life would change virtually to nothing. It wouldn't. It would almost change not at all, right? Because I don't rely on them. Right now, I'm not saying I want them to crumble. All right, because there is parts of the government infrastructure that are kind of good. You know, like the fact that they throw murderers in jail. I like that. I support that. Okay, rapists go to jail. I support that. Okay, I don't do Medicaid or Medicare. I don't do that stuff either. Oh, you're on both. And that's okay. See, that's the other thing is that if you do collect those things, it's okay because guess what? If you decide, hey, I want to collect Social Security, that's your choice. You can do that. And if you want to, that's fine because guess what? You paid into it. That's your money anyway. So you might as well get your money back. But I don't care. I've paid into it like very little, right? Very little because in my life, most of my jobs have either been off the books or I was not. I was exempting myself from getting all the taxes. I wasn't paying into Social Security. So if I were to go get Social Security now, I'd probably get like $5 a month. Like, do you think I want $5 a month from the government for what? Actually, you don't have to be a 14th Amendment citizen in order to utilize the Social Security card. And I'm going to show all you guys right now how to do this. Okay, so we're going to do this right now because, first of all, let's talk about the state citizenship thing that Hambone doesn't know exists. All right, the guy wants to talk shit, but he doesn't know that they're state citizens. So it tells you one thing. It says the citizens, Article 4, Section 2, the citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. That's right. There's state citizens, Hambone. Okay, all right, now let's go into this. Let's go to the SS5. I'm going to show you guys how to do this SS5 correctly. All right, so application for Social Security card. So if you do this, this is going to change the system inside. But what you need to do, like honestly, before you do this, you have to have a corrected passport with an affidavit. Because you're going to need that affidavit that's on file with the Secretary of State. You're going to FOIA request it to get it, and they're going to give you a certified copy of this, right? Oh no! I keep Hambone around because when he says when he opens his mouth and all this bullshit comes out, we can actually use this as a teaching lesson. So now we're on the SS5 and how to correct the Social Security card and the Social Security account, so that way you're not a U.S. citizen under the Social Security account. Isn't that nice? But you have to do the passport first. You got to do the passport first with an affidavit. If you did the Moonshine Stills version, that's fine. That's okay. You can do that, but you still have to get an affidavit because when you get the application, they're going to give you a copy of the application you filled out. That's going to be your proof that you're not a U.S. citizen. Okay? But your affidavit is going to come back certified and sealed. Okay? From the Secretary of State. That's powerful. Because that is above any of these little municipal courts or all that shit. Because this is a higher authority. Yeah, that's why I keep Hambone around. Because he's gonna open his mouth and say stupid shit, right? I'll let him piss me off a little bit, but now we're using it as an opportunity. Now it says name to be shown on the card. Okay, blah blah blah. Right? Application for a card. Citizenship. So you got place of birth, state or foreign country. Okay. So what's your place of birth? So this is I would fill out the name completely. So put it in the name, right? Let's say John, right? Henry, Doe. Full name at birth other than the one above. Oh, doesn't that change things right there? Full name at birth other than above. Let me spell Henry right. First name, Doe, comma, no middle name, John Henry, colon. Doesn't that change things a bit? That's changing things already. Other names used. Do you have an assumed name? Go ahead, put the assumed name in there. Social security number previously assigned. Okay, you can put that in there. Place of birth. Let's say if you were born in, let's say, ungrateful to who, dude? Who's ungrateful? You calling us children? It's not like the fucking government gave birth to us. Shit. I'm grateful for my mother because she raised me to not deal with stupid ass motherfuckers. That's what she did. And I tell you, if my mother was here right now, she would be like, "That was a stupid ass motherfucker," because that's how she talks. She was from the projects. You know, you don't cross a woman like that. All right, so you say your city. Let's say New York City, right? What's the state? New York Republic. So, calling us children. Bro, you're the one that's sitting there asking the government for handouts. Please, government, give me my money back. I'll be a good boy. Right? That's what he's doing. Date of birth. Well, whose birth are we talking about here? Are we talking about your birth, or are we talking about the person's birth? Okay? That's something you have to decide. If you want it to be all the person, then you would fill this out and put in here. If you're not doing it, let's say like this, right? It's the person's birth. You would put in the date of the file date on here, file date. If you're doing it that way. But if you're doing it the way I'm showing you, you're going to put in, you would put in just your regular birth date. All right, because you're doing this as you, not as the entity, right? And you can put in other names used. You could put the same name in here. So, and then you would just go assumed name. See? Assumed name slash DBA. Okay. Now it says citizenship here. Other. There you go. See, you don't have to be a U.S. citizen. See, Hambone don't even know what you're talking about. He's never even looked at the SS5 form. Oh, if you're using a social security number, you're a citizen. Yeah? How come there's 3 other options other than U.S. citizen? All right, ethnicity. This is voluntary. I wouldn't answer any of these. I would leave all this alone. Okay? If anything, I don't care what the skin color is of you, you're probably better off clicking that. All right? And I'm going to show you guys why. All right, hold on. I will show you why. All right? And it's race. Look how they, like in this form, look, they separate out race and ethnicity. Oh, I'm on YouTube. You can come on YouTube and see what we're doing. Let's go to here, and we're going to scroll down quite a bit, actually. So remember, this has nothing to do with skin color. All right, I'm just going to let you guys know. When they use these terms, it has nothing to do with this color of your skin. All right? All right. Free white persons, referred to the Naturalization Act as amended by July 14th, 1870, has meaning naturally given to all when using this, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries which they have immigrated. European Jews, Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, which is Iberian, Latin, Greek, Slavic descent. That's not all white, right? Like, look at these. Like, Slavic people aren't white people. Greek people aren't white people, right? Magyars, Lapps, Finns, Basques, Albanians, right? The Moorish inhabitants. See? The Moors. You see, everyone, about the Moors, okay? Portugal, Greek, Latin, Phoenician, North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slavic and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean the Caucasian race, Aryan race, they don't count, or Indonesian European races. Okay, you see? This is not a skin color. Don't let people fool you into thinking it is. It's not. Look, a Syrian of Aztec birth and descendant will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person. Sorry. Guess you can only be a state citizen. I'm looking on Black Law's 4th edition. That's what I'm looking at right now. But that's in Black Law's 4th edition, free white persons. That's the definition there. All right, now let's go back to our application here. That's why I would say click that. Okay. I don't care what your skin color is. You probably fall under this definition somewhere. Okay. Everyone's mixed. I mean, I'm like a quarter Caribbean. I'm like a quarter Cherokee Indian, and then I'm like half German. So America, you know. So like my mother was half Caribbean and half German, right? All right, so mother's name, put in your mother's name. You could just click unknown if you don't know the social. That's fine. They recognize that. Father's name, father's social security number. If that's unknown, just click unknown. All right. Has the person listed in item 1 ever acted on his behalf or filed for social security number before? All right. Answer this honestly. Okay. Don't answer this dishonestly. Okay. If has the person ever acted on his behalf? Yes. Right? Because yes, someone did it. Name shown, put the name on there. Enter a different date of birth if used on early application. There might be. You would do that there too. You would put in the other date. If you're switching the birth dates, then yeah, you would do that. Today's date, phone number, I think you guys know that. Mailing address. Remember, this is a mailing address, so don't use the rural route for this because this is just, they're going to mail it to you. So make sure you want to make sure it gets to you. In some areas, the post office will not mail to your rural route number unless you actually have the box up and you tell them to mail it there. If you don't have that, they won't send it to you. So make sure just give them the street address or the P.O. box or something. All right, because remember, it's just mailing. You're just receiving mail there. It doesn't mean you're a resident. It doesn't mean that you're a U.S. citizen. Okay. I declare on a penalty of perjury that I have examined all the information on this form and on the accompanying statements or forms and is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Okay. All right. Your relationship to the person, other. Name holder. There you go. Okay. So there's a couple ways to do this. I like doing it like this because what you're doing is you're creating this situation where you're not the entity. Okay. The entity is this own thing. Okay. And I think this is good. Date of birth is the entity, the file date. And you're just kind of removing yourself from being that entity. All right, but that's how you would correct the status through the Social Security. There's actually another one, an SS5FS. That's the other one. And that one might actually be better because it shows you're not in the United States. SS5FS. It's the exact same form. Okay, look, I'll show you. All right. But the difference is this with the FS form, right? See, it's exactly the same. The difference is that because it's FS, it means that you're not residing, that you're not currently in the United States. So that was my only, let's see. Where is it? Yeah, see, evidence of U.S. citizenship. That's why I say you have to bring that in because they're going to make you a U.S. citizen unless you show them your passport information. Yeah, this is an amendment to the Social Security number. So let's everyone thank Hambone for coming in here and being a disruptor to piss me off. So that way I can get you guys showing you guys this shit. It says it in here somewhere. I forget where it says it, but it says that the FS is when you're not in the United States. So this is the one to use. And then just mail it in. Social Security forms. Nope, that's not it. SS.5. Oh yeah, see it says it on the cover. Application for a social security card outside of the US. So use that one, the FS, and then it shows you're outside the United States, you're not the entity, and that you're not a US citizen. Guys like that one? What's the YouTube channel? Oh wow, that's funny. Didn't come on YouTube. All right, let's see. It's just Joe Lustica. That's the YouTube channel. Is Hambone still here, or did he leave? Yeah, Hambone. Anyway, I gotta find the. I can't even find it. It's just my name on YouTube. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so yeah, it's just Joe Lustica. That's the name of the channel on YouTube. You're calling it silliness, but why are you still here? Getting your jollies? Oh man. You're saying silly, but guess what? I didn't go out of my way looking for this stuff. Yeah, he's getting his jollies. Thank you. Thank you, Lee, for sharing. Anyway, what else we got going on here? Holy jeez, look at all these comments I've missed on YouTube. Can you speak more on operating in trust? I don't even know how long ago that was. No, Hambone over here called it silly. He says I'm silly. I said, well, if I'm silly, then you better call Congress silly, because where do you think I'm getting this from? You better call the judges silly, because where do you think I'm getting this from? You better call the Social Security Administration silly, because guess where I get this from? I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm showing, like, you can't see it because you're here on TikTok, right? But I'm showing you this all this stuff, everything I'm saying, I'm showing it on YouTube right now with everybody else. So, you call me silly, but yeah, right. That's the other gaslighting claim. Well, you're misinterpreting this. Yeah, you tell me I can't read. I bet you I have a higher reading level than you. I can almost guarantee that. I can fucking put $1,000 down right now that my reading level is much higher than yours. All right. And I don't like doing that kind of shit. I don't like saying that, but that's true. Because I can define words you can't define, like of. Which means that if you can't define the word of, you don't actually understand the sentence in which it's used in, right? So if I say I have a glass of water, right? Of. What does of mean in that case? Of showing that something's containing, right? What's being contained, right? A glass of water. Now the problem is that, you're a fearmonger and you're a gaslighter, and that's the problem, right? So you just come in to upset people and stuff like that, but you're just trying to stray everybody away because you are just one of the agents for the Matrix. Sorry. All right. What else we got going on here? I'm the owner of the Ens Legis. Yeah. It's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to convince him. He's going to keep coming in and saying this stupid crap, but he doesn't produce any content. He offers nothing of substance. All he does is say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Yeah. That's what, like, those prosecutors do. No, you're wrong. Prove it. I don't have to. Why? Because, you get on your knees for the judge. That's why. That's all they got. Anyway. Yeah. Any silly... Oh, Steve, that's hilarious. Any silly info on coupons? Oh, you missed it before we were doing the coupons. I was showing about the coupons for the bonds earlier, but yeah, go ahead, come for them. Go for all of them. There's a whole bunch of judges that just got in trouble for funneling all this money out of court cases and putting into trusts, right? That's what they were doing. They were using trusts for all these illegal purposes, and they got caught. I love it. I love that they got caught. And they look like regular people. You wouldn't think anything weird about them. But here they are stealing fucking thousands of dollars, right? Using trust to move money around. Like, and these, ladies, they just, yeah, that's it. Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The 31 in Missouri. Yeah, they pay into private prisons. There are kids who went to jail, right? To juvie prison, right? Because the private prison paid the judge to get more kids into the juvie. Like one kid went to jail. Okay, this is how broken the judicial system is. A kid went to jail because he talked shit about his principal online. So the judge went and sentenced him to 6 months in juvie. That judge should not be a judge, number one. Number two, there's a special type of swing for that dude. Okay, when you do that to a child, First Amendment, he's got right of free speech. He can talk shit about his principal all he wants. You can't sentence that dude to jail for that, and especially a kid. Bro, he's gonna end up like me one day. You do that to the wrong person, right? You're gonna turn someone into an activist. Okay, what do you think? That's literally what happened to me when I was 18. I went to jail for talking. That's why Hambone don't understand that shit. This is why he's over here calling me silly. You think I wanted to get arrested? You think I wanted to go to jail for talking? Well, he's going to come up with his justifications for it. But I swear, if there were video cameras back then, I could show everyone the video footage of how I got arrested and went to jail for talking. And you'd be like, seriously? You went to jail for that? Literally? Never made any kind of derogatory comment towards the cop. Not once. Nothing. No threats. Nothing like that. This is what they do. Anyway, what else is going on? They did that to me for punching another kid. Oh, because you punched a kid? I'm glad I grew up in New York City because we beat each other up all the damn time. And not one. The only time the cops were called was when I got into a knife fight. And someone called the cops because we were going to probably... we were probably going to kill each other. But... Yeah. But that was New York City in like the 80s and 90s, that's how it was. I like how he calls me delusional, but I'm probably the sanest person he's actually talked to in a very long time. Yeah, right? He calls me delusional. What's delusional about me getting arrested for talking, right? What's delusional is the cops actually thinking it was okay, and then the judge sentenced me to a fucking prison sentence or a jail sentence for it. That's the bullshit, right? That's delusional. They're supposed to pay everyone, yeah. So, oh, the baby. All right, very cute. All right, gotta watch my language now, right? Anyway, yeah, it's nuts, man. You see, Hambone's gonna come up with a way why the government was right and I was wrong because he's got the knee pads out and everything. He was ready to go. He's got the knee pads out. He's giving the shocked look, right? He's got the whole thing going on already. Shit. He's on the knees surprised. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about some real shit before I get out of here because I'm gonna have to go in a couple minutes. All right. Nothing? No one's got anything?
I got something, Joe. I'm still trying to get these paychecks from being garnished. I'm out in Illinois though.
Did we do this on the private side before, me and you?
I tried. I didn't get so I didn't get communication back from you.
Did you book on my calendar?
Oh no, I did not.
Yeah, that's how you're gonna have to do it. I have a calendar app on my calendar app. Well, it's not my app, but on calendar you can just schedule a time with me. I'll drop it in. I gotta find it. Send me an email. I can email it to you. It's easier. I don't know where. Wait, hold on. Actually, maybe I can find it now. Hold on. Okay. Copy link. I'm gonna drop it right here on YouTube, and I'll drop it here in Rumble. And then you guys up on TikTok, the Calendly link is in, it's in my bio on that link. All right. But yeah,
All right, I'll send you an email.
who's doing the who's taking the money out of your paycheck?
A lawyer group for a credit card.
Assholes. So the court case is already done?
Yeah, it was year ago, more than a year ago.
See, now we can do a writ of prohibition. All right, with the higher court. Telling you didn't get due process. I mean, well, like what happened? Did you actually go to court for this, or they just kind of like ran amok on this default stuff on you?
Yeah, I went to court and it was kind of like that. And like I said, I stepped out for a second. They basically said I wasn't there because I stepped out, went to the clerk.
Yeah. So you can get them on that stuff. I would just do a writ of prohibition and then do because the writ of prohibition you can stop them from taking the funds out of your account, right?
All right.
That would be one thing. Another thing is open up a trust account and start putting all your money in there. Get a trust, put the funds into there. What are they going to do? Are you part of the trust community?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Also with
We
that,
just we just
it
went
comes
over
straight.
that. Go ahead.
It comes straight. I guess my boss pays them. You know what I mean? Before my boss gives the money to me, it comes out of my check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, actually, there's a way to bypass all that. So when you're going to go to your boss, we have like letters and stuff like that that we use with the trust. So that way, when you have the trust set up, you give that to your boss, and your boss pays the trust. Now that bypasses them having to give them money. And then when you do the writ of prohibition with them, you can put a bond in on that case as well, and that refrains them from being able to take anything from you until the matter is settled. And then what you're going to do, we're going to collapse the whole court case from underneath. All right, saying that you didn't get due process of law properly, that they just kind of that they were like abusing the courts and stuff like that, malicious prosecution, manipulation, stuff like that, and hoodwinking you out of the courtroom to make you look like you didn't appear. You can actually do that shit. You say, look, they falsified records, they treated me like cattle and made me go here and there while they went in front of the judge and lied to the judge. So you don't want to like make the judge the bad guy on this. You're going to go after them and say they pulled a nasty little trick, right, to get me to lose the case because you were going to win anyway. Right? That's why they did that shit, because they were going to lose. You probably had a good argument somewhere in there, and they couldn't refuse it. That's my.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I'll send you an email on that.
All right, sounds good. But yeah, I did drop the link in here, so you guys, if you want, you can use that link. And then, like in the trust community, I just showed this to everybody how we're going to do this, where all your pay goes to the trust, and you don't make any income. So even if you didn't do like a revocation of election, right, still wouldn't have to pay taxes because you make zero in income. And the trust, because it's getting it as a gift, doesn't have to pay any income either because it's not taxable. The YouTube channel is just my name. Hold on. Wait, can someone type my name in TikTok? Because that's the YouTube channel. Thank you. All right. Anything else before I go? Do you have a place where your links are posted? I would like to learn as much as I can. Yeah, I have a link tree. Let me go pull up my link tree. Link tree. There we go. Link tree. I'll put that in here. That's everything. Everything's in there. So that link tree link is going to have the trust membership, the Calendly thing. There's a couple right to travel. There's like a right to travel class in there. Don't buy it right now. Okay, it's a little finicky at the moment. Tax forms class. What's this? This is the Rumble channel. Telegram, right? And then music. You want to listen to music? You can listen to music. And then the last one is also a secondary Rumble channel. because I am a musician. Hambone would probably tell you that I'm not a very good musician. Watch, I bet you he'll say he's a terrible musician. He sucks. He can't play any instrument because Hambone is only negative, and he only talks negativity. But we need that. We need that negativity because otherwise, oh shit, I forgot. Let's do that real quick. Sorry. Texas 502. Are you watching on YouTube? You better be watching on YouTube as well or something. 502.003. Let's pull this up. I promised this to somebody earlier. And case text. I'm so sad. Case text is gone. All right. 003. That's 001. It's too far. So hard to read. All right, here it is. 003. Registration by political subdivision prohibited. All right, except as provided by subsection A, a political subdivision of this state may not require an owner of a motor vehicle to register the vehicle, pay a motor vehicle registration fee, or pay an occupation tax or license fee in connection with a motor vehicle. Right. Yes. So they can't. Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. Unless you're acting in like a commercial capacity. If you're in a for-hire capacity, then they could. License and regulate the use of motor vehicles for compensation. There it is. Within municipal limits, impose a permit fee, street rental car for operation of each motor vehicle. Use to transport passengers for compensation. Yeah, it's all about compensation. Everything, all this stuff about cars and stuff is all about compensation. So they may not require an owner. They may. See, that's the thing, is the difference between may and may not. Anyway, I'm going to have to go in a minute because my wife is calling me. So I'm going to have to get out of here. She wants to do something with me today. We're going to do something fun. And it won't involve Hambone because he sucks. All right, guys. She's going to keep calling. All right, guys, I'm going to be out. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate everyone. And I'll see you guys later. I look for, if you guys join the bond class, that'd be awesome. But the trust community is really, to me, that's the best place to be, as that trust community, because that's where we're having it's been awesome, right? Any trust members in here right now?
I'm in here, Joe.
I know.
You know it. I'm
How's
on
it
all
going in
three.
there? All three. Oh yeah, that's right. She's on all three. So link tree. I thought I shared it. Oh, I didn't share it in here. Yeah, so trust community members, thank you. Thank you, everybody. But I'm gonna head out. Peace out, everyone. And go ahead, use the link tree link and for the other stuff. Okay. All right, I'm out. Peace.
Thanks.